Today we're going along the Appian Way to have a private visit of the Columbarium, or the tombs of Augustus's freedmen, his slaves and those who were freed. And I thought we'd start out with the Appian Way itself. Look, here it is, built in the very end of the 4th century BC. And you can see the very slabs that they're made out of. So this is made out of, basalt. And so an intricate way of making these roads. They put these big blocks of basolato, it's called. And the road started here, right outside of Rome, right in the outskirts of Rome. And it went straight from here to Capua. And then later there was an extension that went from Capua to Brindisi. And then from Brindisi went to Greece on the Via Egnatia. But this is where it starts. And actually, this road, built by Appius Claudius Caecus, literally he was blind, so hence being called Caecus, it was the first of the roads. It was the first of these consular roads, which linked all of the provinces, all of the empire to Rome. And so for that reason, it was called the Regina Viarum, or the Queen of the Roads. You can just picture actually this road. It had so much history going alongside it, right along it. Here's where, right here in this part of Rome, this is where Cicero's enemy Clodius was killed by a gang of roughs. The gang of roughs of Milo got into a fight with Clodius's chaps. Everybody knew the Appian Way. It was the way to get to Rome. It was also the place where you really want to have the best ever tombs. This is where you showed off your family. This is where you showed off who you were, because when you're dead, you have to be buried outside the city. But if you're dead, you still want to advertise your family. So you want to go along the Park Avenue of tombs. And here it's on the Appian Way. They don't have a concept of afterlife. They don't have a concept of, well, it's okay, we have a better life coming. No, they don't. Their big thing is they want to be remembered. And they want their families to be remembered. So if you have a whacking great tomb, well, then you'll be remembered forever if you're on the Appian Way. And here we have whacking great tomb. It's the most famous tomb on the Appian Way, and it dates to the 1st century BC. It's a very traditional shape for a tomb, actually. Etruscan tombs were round. It's the tomb of Cecilia Metella, the daughter of Quintus Metellus Craticus. When you look up, you can just make out, that it was reused later as a castle. What's really hilarious is that this tomb later gets made into the Palazzo Caetani. It's one of the Roman families that was famous around here. But anyway, from tomb to palace, I think the key thing is the Appian Way is all about being remembered when you're dead. Today we've walked along and driven along the Appian Way. If you look around, these are some of the most affluent houses in Rome. We're not talking the dead here anymore. We're talking really nice villas. And we've come to see a guy, a chap, I should say a gentleman really, because he is that, called Pio, who owns this villa. Right outside here you can see, just countryside and hear the birds. And he's come to show us something a little bit special. Wow!
Ciao!
Signor Pio!
Ciao, professoressa! How are you?
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having us. What a wonderful day you have here.
Yes, today fortunately there is the sun, and so I made some telephone call before.
You have, I know
you.
You have great connections.
Of course.
We would love to see your inside of your house, if you don't mind showing us.
You are welcome. This is the central room of the Columbarium of Freedmen of Emperor Augustus. You can see in every niche, you can find 2 pots where the ash of the freedmen. The freedmen are the previous slaves that became free for they faithful to the emperor. This columbarium I think it's one of the biggest in Rome because it has place for 3,000 people.
So all here, in each one of these niches, that's what you're saying, there's two pots in there, right?
Yes, two pots in
And
every
then-
niche.
And then they have the ashes
of the freedmen.
The ashes of the freedmen of Augustus
Yes.
in each one of those. So they're all cremated, obviously. And it's called a columbarium because it looks like a dovecote, and a columba is a dove.
Exactly.
And then they were covered over. Each one had an inscription in front of it.
Inscription under every niche, with the name of the freedman and the function. The man who cooks, the woman.
So how do we know what was on the inscriptions? If these have gone,
now these inscriptions are in the Musei Capitolini, near
the Capitoline museums.
Capitolio. It's fantastic. In a volume by Piranesi, they are copy all the inscription they found.
There was also another columbarium, or a dovecote, that was found.
Oh yes,
by
the columbarium by the second wife of Augustus, as Livius. When it was found, it was in very good condition, and some engraving where you can see it was quite perfect. But now the archaeologist doesn't know where is the Columbarium of Livia. This columbarium was underground.
I was just going to say that actually one of the strange things is it's very rare to have a columbarium like this, which is above ground.
Yes.
So it says something about how important the freedmen of these emperors were, and they all had different jobs. And they're not people who are, working in a Cinderella style. Some of these are very educated. Some of these were at the top of their professions, in fact. Augustus had a really famous doctor called Antonius Musa. So you could be super famous as a freedman of Augustus. They themselves would have had slaves.
Yeah.
So slaves owned slaves. These freed slaves had slaves. So in this place where all these bodies were, these ashes were, they had a wine press. They had a
wine press.
Bar.
In the engraving by Piranesi, also by Labruzzi, you can see this room with the roof and a lot of barrel here, with guy drinking wine, of course.
What is it like living with this in your garden?
The first night it was a little bit strange because we are the custode, come si dice?
You're the custodian.
The custodian of a funerary monument. But let's say he is 2,000 years old. So now there are no more ghosts.
No, the ghosts have gone.
The ghosts have gone also.
Awesome responsibility, isn't it? That you have, it's
the responsibility.
2,000 years old, huh?
Yes, I feel this responsibility, and I try to do my best. For example, for the moment, we have begun to restore the only wall remaining of the lateral rooms with a very famous restauratore.
A restorer.
A restorer, yes.
Wow.
But I am the first one of my family who lives here. Yes, because here the land before was much bigger. But when the owner died, he divided the property between the son. For example, these 3 rooms, 2 rooms belongs to me by my mother, and the other room belongs to my aunt.
So your family owned a lot of land and gradually it gets smaller.
Yes.
But how many years has this tomb been in your family?
A little bit more than 300 years.
Your family has owned this for 300 years?
Yeah.
You're part of the history.
Yeah. I am part of
That's
this.
so impressive. Well, Pio, I'm just looking at this house. You're the first person in your family to live here, but it was built in the 17th century.
Yes,
So this originally was just a farmhouse
a farmhouse.
for the people like they were growing grapes.
Grapes, yes.
This farmhouse, if you look at the remains here, that's all Roman.
These are Roman. Only 2,000 years old, only.
So you were going to show me this stairway here.
Oh yes, there is a drawing by Piranesi showing this farmhouse from here. And there is these stairs that are called modern stairs excavated in ancient wall. Modern stairs
There's in the ancient wall.
ancient wall. Today is my own, yes.
Unbelievable. This has been an amazing visit.
Pleasure to have you here, and I hope to see you again
Well,
when
absolutely.
you are in Rome.
Oh, thank
Please
you.
call me
Absolutely.
and come here.